Let's talk about Rebel Moon. I remember when I watched The Army of the Dead, I left that thinking, wow, this is the best movie that I've watched in a long time. When I was watching Rebel Moon, I didn't get that feeling. And I thought that I would get it since it was the same director. I think this time around, it's just, I didn't get the marketing prior to it. And when I watched it, I didn't have expectation. I was just watching to enjoy. And at certain parts, I wasn't enjoying it because I think when you start watching sci-fi movies like that, there's a certain level of expectation that's been put, right? So it's like you've seen it before. You've seen this film before. Like there's not much that you can do. This is probably going to be the same as Dune. This is probably going to be the same as Blade Runner. Like the idea is I've seen this before, but now I'm seeking the spectacle. Now I'm seeking the conflict. Now I'm seeking something new. And I think that as I was watching it, I didn't get that. I didn't get anything new. I got, in the beginning, I think there's an explanation of what the rebels are, what happened, the Slain King, and this story, yada yada. And then from there, we meet the characters. We meet Korra. We meet people on this land, and then we meet the big bad antagonist when he comes and he wants to take over the land. The motherland wants to take over this. So it's like it's the same story that you've watched. So you sort of just forgive that, and you're like, all right, cool, man. There's not much that they can do, but there has to be some form of conflict in terms of what's going on and in whose perspective is the movie. That's the main thing. So one storyline you could go with is the queen, the slain daughter. Maybe she's now on planet Earth, but it's not. And then what happens is you get to this part whereby they have to protect themselves from the big bad people, and you're like, all right, cool. I see how that works. You're now going to assemble a team of warriors to come defend the land within the 10 weeks time that you were given, and that was fine. And then you have these guys who are against them, who are also seeking to find these rebels that have been on the run, and you're like, yeah, cool, I get it. And then there are bits and pieces of story where it's like, all right, cool, the action is fun, the CGI is awesome, everything is great, but what's the story? And for me, when I was watching it, I didn't get emotionally connected to what I was watching. At no point did I feel like I understood what Cora's story was, what she was fighting for, because I think that ideally, I don't know, from my perspective, if the princess was still alive and then there is a goal and the one that's strong enough to make me believe in terms of, okay, this is what they're going for. Or when you look at when the girl is almost raped, there's a character there, the soldier, who helps them, and then that's the end of it. The girl that's almost raped, that's the end of it, and then it's like that bit of the story happens, and we move on. So it's like there's nothing to that. Like, what are we doing? And when you move on to different beats of the story, it's like nothing for me really added up. And I've read online where people are saying there's challenges with pace. For me, I felt like there's challenges with the entire story because either it was shortened and they took away important beats that make you connect with the character and have an understanding of why she's doing what she's doing. And in movies like this, the challenge is how do you expose information to the audience without making it monotonous? How do you explain who each character is, what their goals and desires are, and then how do we set up the ending? And I think in such movies, either you do three movies where in one it's just the setup, in two you're taking us through the journey, and then you conclude in three, or you make it 3 hours and then you have the first hour of setting up what's happening because you are Zack Snyder and we allow you to do that. We are willing to sit through and watch whatever you've made. I would have watched it regardless. But now I leave the movie with, I don't really know what it's about. I don't know. It's a cool movie. It's all anamorphic, sometimes in focus, sometimes out of focus. It's cool CGI, it's cool stuff, but I don't really know what I'm supposed to get out of it. I remember like watching it, I was already searching the cast. I'm like, oh, who's this person? Who's that person? And I wasn't as engaged as I wanted to be. And I saw a lot of people shame um the Army of the Dead. But for me, I really enjoyed that. The one with Batista, like I fell in love with them. I felt like the characters, I connected with them. I had an understanding of where they were coming from, what they were going for, what they were trying to achieve. Each of their death meant something. And with with this one, I didn't feel it. I didn't get there, and I'm hoping for two. Like I've listened to people say there's talks of the director's cut coming out, and us seeing what he wants. I'm not a big Zack, like I'm a Zack Snyder fan as a director, but I'm not part of his, obsessive, not obsessive, but of those group of people who follow everything that he does. I'm not part of that, but I'm a big fan of the movie maker, and yeah, I can't wait to watch. Like I could, like I'm not like I couldn't watch that Zack Snyder cut. Like I was like, yo, they really messed it up, like in terms of the color grade and whatever final video that we got. Where you're like, I'm not watching that. It's painful. But I hope with this Netflix does the right thing. If it was a pacing issue and we really fix the movie, because I felt like it's a movie with great potential. It's a fun movie to watch, but it's just it lacks something, and I can't put my mind on what it is. But I just don't understand why. Like I remember watching the rebels. Like we spent this whole time, even the army commander searching for the rebels, and then all of a sudden he dies just like that. Or when her father all of a sudden is the anti-hero, and you're like, I don't get it. That's my take of Rebel Moon. I don't get it.